Namaste. Namaste and welcome to this short video. I have recorded this especially for one of my one-to-one students. And so I'm going to take you quickly through the things that we did together last time, but this video is available to everyone, and you can use it if you find it useful. So the first thing that we're going to do is warm up our calves a little bit. You can do this holding onto a wall or freestanding as you choose. We're going to find a point of focus ahead, making sure that we feel lifted in the belly muscles and gently come up onto the tiptoes and then gently release the heels down. Doesn't matter how high you come up, just a gentle lift. The arms seem to help for some reason, and a gentle lower. A few times up and down. And then when you're ready, as you come up this time, you can take one heel to the floor and then the other. So keeping that point of focus, that gentle lift in the center, allowing the arms to be wherever they are useful and helpful, and having that sensation of almost floating onto both tiptoes and then taking one heel down. And it's a really lovely kiss of the heel to the floor. So just gently up and down. You can do as many of these as you feel comfortable doing. And then we'll release both heels down, just giving the legs a little bit of a shake out. Then we're going to use a firm block. And this firm block, I'm going to use also a little wall for support here. But we're going to stand on the firm block with both balls of the feet. And then it's the same sort of thing. We're coming up onto tiptoes and then releasing the heels down. But because we've got the block, our heels can go below where they would on the floor. It's called a deficit. And then we can do this up and down a few times. And it's great if you're trying to create perhaps a little extra sensation of length in your calf muscles and Achilles. If you've perhaps had been doing things like running or a marathon recently, they can also be useful for that. But for my lovely students, it's just about building a little bit of strength across the ankle, a little bit of greater range of movement. So just a few of these, however many feel like a useful number to do, and then just stepping off the block, giving your legs a little bit of a shake out. If you wish to build a little bit of extra strength, some weight really helps here. And again, you can use a wall for support with just a fingertip. You can wrap one foot behind the other. I like to rest the space between my first and second toes just across my Achilles, but you can do it any way you like. And then again, these little heel raises coming up and down, and hopefully with a little bit more control than I just exhibited there. So again, that lift in the belly, opening the chest, gently up and down, maybe aiming to do about 5 to 10 on each side. I'm just doing a few here because you can pause the video and do as many as you need or as you feel inclined to do. Sometimes we notice that we've got a little bit of movement across the ankle. So for example, on this side, I have a tendency to hang out on the side of my little toe. So it can be useful to film yourself going up and down so you can see, or of course, working with a teacher can point that out as well. So once you've done these lovely calf stretches, we're going to come down to the mat to do a little bit of work here on the mat itself. So we want to start with some cat-cow pose, which is always nice to wriggle, a little lift in the belly, and inhaling as you look forward, gliding the shoulder blades down, exhaling as you round under, tucking the chin towards the chest, pressing the feet into the floor really helps to get that sense of lift. And then just gliding gently from one to the other. Once you've done a few backwards and forwards, you might try a few side to side, little side cats. Lovely way to open across the sides of the body just to begin with. And then perhaps a few sassy cats, wiggling the hips and the shoulders separately to be able to get movement through the whole of the spine and the torso. And you'll notice your areas of tension going the opposite way when you're ready. Very good. And then from here, we can try a pigeon pose. So I've got my block nice and handy. I'm going to bring the, doesn't matter, one knee forward. In this case, it's my right knee. And just lengthen the left leg back. But I'm going to tuck the toes under and then a little lift in the belly here and supported by the hands. They could be up on blocks. It's quite a nice thing to give yourself that extra lift. I'm going to gently lengthen and then bend that back knee, that left knee to the floor, so that I create a bit of lift and I have to power up my legs and then a lower. And by doing that, I provide the opportunity to find a little bit of space across the pelvis so that when you're ready, you can rest into pigeon pose that suits you. Now, it might be that you want to stay upright, and that's absolutely fine. The further down you get, the more intense the stretch across that right buttock and the outside of the hip. If you need to, you can transfer the block underneath the right hip to give you a sense of being able to hold here without forcing any joints into odd positions. And then just gently, if you wish to, walking your hands a little bit further forward. You can even come with the forehead on the floor or on the backs of the hands or arms for a little moment of deep breathing. And really, you're just holding for as long as it feels comfortable. When you come up, if you'd like to, you can flirt with bringing that back knee towards, back heel, sorry, towards you. And you don't have to hold on to anything, but if you can reach your leggings or a belt, that's great. If you can reach the foot itself, that's fine too. But the action of in and out is sometimes enough, just to provide a little bit of length across the quadriceps. And if this block under your right hip doesn't feel right, you can take it to one side and just allow yourself to slump down into that hip. So that hip's on the floor. There's a little bit more twist here through the pelvis. This is a nice one to explore in case it feels differently across your hips. So I find that in this variation, I get a much better stretch around the outside of my right hip. But it's not the classical variation, it's just an exploration. And again, if you wish to, you can come forward in this one or not. So in between, we're going to come back into downward facing dog. Just give ourselves a little paddle out in downward facing dog. And then doing the same thing to the opposite side. Bringing forward now the left knee and stretching the right foot back, using a block under your hands if you'd like to, tucking the back toes, just gently lifting and lowering. And at this active pigeon, it's important for the legs to feel like they're helping. When you have your left leg forward, you can, in the case of my student, if you like, have your foot more underneath your thigh rather than the left foot being out to the right side of the mat. So finding a place that works for your knee. When you've gone up and down a few times, you can settle into your pigeon pose. Whatever position the front knee is in is fine. And then see if coming forward a little bit helps. If it's too intense on a day, stay higher up. If you wish to rest, you can make a pillow out of your hands, or you might stretch your arms away far enough to get your forehead on the floor. And in this position, if you need to, you can place a block underneath your left hip, which helps to create that sense of support. When you're ready, you can be in an upright position. If you wish to, you can flirt with bringing that right heel into the buttock, turning towards the right. You can actually turn towards the left as well. It can be done both ways. Just trying which side feels like it's giving you the most opportunity. And then if you wish to, you can explore allowing the left hip to come to the floor. That may or may not work depending on how your hip rotation feels on a given day. But if it feels good like that, you can also try folding over your slumped, if you like, hips. And again, when you're ready, coming into downward facing dog. Stretching through the legs, and here it can be really nice to give the legs a real stretch by lifting one leg up into three-legged dog, just rolling at the ankle a few times in each direction, pressing into your fingertips, and then doing the same on the other side, lifting your left leg up, rolling the foot at the ankle a few times, keeping the fingertips really nice and firm, and then releasing down. From here, coming down to lying onto your belly. It could be child's pose on the way if it helps. Making a pillow out of the hands and just having the feet separated enough that they feel, that the low back feels like it can soften the back of the pelvis, releasing and relaxing. Take a few centering breaths. And then you can bend your right knee and take your heel up towards the ceiling. That's just a simple roll of the knee, the foot from side to side. To massage the front of the thigh on the floor, trying to keep the hips as low to the floor as possible. You might even circle that foot a couple of times in each direction, maybe 5 or 6 times. And I'm just going quickly through these. I expect you to work through them a little bit more slowly. Swapping sides. Again, doing a little wave of the heel from side to side, bending the left heel towards the buttock, trying to keep the hips down on the floor, and then making circles. So if you need to have your foot a little bit further away from you to keep your hips on the floor, that's fine, going with that. When you have done these ones, we can come back onto our hands and knees, and we're going to turn around to do a little work on our backs. So, lying down onto the floor with the feet wide apart, the arms relaxed away from the body wherever is comfortable, and just allowing the knees to gently sway from side to side to begin with. Maybe also allowing the head to turn from side to side if it feels good to do that. And then when you're ready, you can come to center, and we're going to extend one leg. So in this case, we're going to extend the left leg, and the right knee will remain bent with the heel relatively close to the hips. And then we're doing a bridge pose, but only with one side of the body. So we're going to press the knee away from us, which peels the right hip off the floor in this kind of twisting, spiraling motion. We don't want to take the left hip off the floor. We're just going to wherever feels good. We're using the right buttock and the back of the right leg to really create that lift, maybe opening across the right side of the body. And then we're just slowly releasing, nice and slowly releasing down into the mat. So doing this a few times, pressing the right knee away to lift the right side of the body, getting that open spiral down the right side, all the way across the rib cage, and then slowly releasing. And when you've done a few to warm up, you can do some slumping ones. So same action to come up, and you hold, and then to come out, you release all at once and sort of slump back into the floor. And you can try this a couple of times, maybe even 5 or 6 times on each side, before swapping sides. In between, just noticing how differently the sides feel. If you need to draw the knees into the chest, you can. And then with the left side, pressing the knee away, the right leg extended, lifting that hip away from the floor to get the spiral sensation across, particularly You might notice it in different parts of the body. I feel it from the front of the left hip all the way up the side of the ribs, and then slowly releasing down. And you can go even slower than I did release, and you'll get a somatic releasing if you do. So pressing the left knee away, lifting the rolling the left hip away from the floor, and then nice and slowly releasing back to center. If you want to try that a few times, you can, and then when you're ready, you can press that knee away, getting that spiral sensation, and then just slumping, releasing all at once back to the floor, and doing that again 5 or 6 times, slumping back. When you've done this to both sides, you can just take a moment with your legs long, arms long, maybe circle the ankles or wave the feet from side to side. You might finish with the knees into the chest, giving the knees a little bit of a stir, or you might finish just simply resting the feet on the floor and maybe swaying the knees from side to side again, gentle sway. After all of that practice, you definitely deserve a relaxation. So taking time to be cozy, comfortable, maybe using one of the relaxations available on this channel, maybe just simply listening to some music that you enjoy for 7 minutes if you can, 10 if you can manage, and then enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.